Hey everyone, Video Game Lover here, and welcome to my final video of 2022. Can you believe it, man? I still can't believe it. You know that today is the last day of 2022. In Japan, it's already 2023. But for my final video, I just want to share you guys the final 10 games that I beat this year. And I've beaten a grand total of 114 games. So, let's begin for the month of December. I only have 3 physical games to show you. The rest were either from my Vita, PSP, or the DS, or the Xbox. First up, we have Ratchet Deadlocked. I finished this game on the 1st of December. This was a really fun game. I had a great time with Ratchet Deadlocked. Very simple Ratchet and Clank game. Well, really, Clank's not in this one. I mean, he is, but you don't play as him. But this was a very fun game. I had a blast. The music's really good. The jokes are funny. This is a great game. I really enjoyed Ratchet Deadlocked. The other one I beat was Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. This is a good 3D platformer, but there's a couple things I don't like about the game. One is that the levels are way too big. Way too big. To the point that it makes certain missions very dull and boring sometimes. Not all of them, but some missions can be very dull and tedious, and they don't really explain too well on where are the certain gems that you need to get, you know, the stones that you need to get. But nonetheless, it's still a decent platformer. I heard the second game's a lot better, which I recently picked up. Next, at long last, I don't know what took me this long to finally play and beat this game, Red Dead Redemption. And yes, this game was amazing. Now, I have a hot take. The story was great. I didn't think it was all that amazing. But outside of that, this is a very good game. Very well made game. The gameplay is awesome in this game. The graphics, in my opinion, still hold up really well. Even though this game came out in 2010. But this is a really good game. I plan on playing the sequel, which is a prequel, down the road. But I had a great time with Red Dead Redemption. This was a really awesome game. Alright, so I finished one DS game, and the DS game that I beat was Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. I was very surprised on this game because I thought I wasn't going to really like it that much because I heard that this game was very hard. I heard this was like the hardest one of the Metroidvania games, but I actually had a blast playing through this game. You know, leveling up, knowing the different abilities that your character can have. Shinoa is a very good character, very beautiful as well. But the two things I really love about this game, one is that the levels are broken down into stages. So while it's a Metroidvania game, it's also kind of like an old school Castlevania game. And the other thing is that this game has legit New Game Plus. In other Castlevania games, there wasn't no such... there is New Game Plus, but you only get to keep certain abilities, but not your level. In Order of Ecclesia, you could keep your level, which is awesome. So I had a great time with Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. It was a really good game. But that's not the only Castlevania game I beat. I also finished the Rondo of Blood remake for the PSP. I finally played Rondo of Blood, and it's really good. I had a great time with this game. Kind of challenging. I was surprised at how challenging this game was, but I still had a great time with this game. And starting tomorrow, I'm going to try to beat the original version of Rondo of Blood. I also finished Castlevania 3 on the NES, the original Japanese version. The English version is way too hard, and even then I still had trouble beating Castlevania 3. But I had a great time playing through that game. It was a really good game. And I finished Biometal on the Super Nintendo. And decent shmup on the Super Nintendo. That's the game with that music. They changed the music to sound like the music you would hear from Space Jam. But the game is so hard. And who came up with the final boss in that game? The final boss has so much health. It takes like almost an eternity to beat him. And he's very difficult. That is one of the most frustrating final bosses I ever played in a video game. That game was very hard. It's an okay game, but way too hard. In Sector X on the Genesis, I finished that game. It's another shmup. But one thing that's really weird was, like Biometal, it was a really hard game. But then I found out the reason it was hard, it was because if you do too good, then the game just punishes you. And that wasn't the only game that did that. Fire Mustang on the Genesis did something similar where if you did really good, the game punishes you for no reason. But I liked Insector X. I thought it was a good, decent game. And coincidentally, it was made by Taito. And I finished Dynamite Duke on the Genesis. A very short shooting game. I had a good time with that game. A lot of fun. Shout out to Megadan for that. Because Megadan played that game, and that's why I wanted to play it. And the last game, well, it wasn't really technically the last game. Technically, it was Run No Blood. But the last game that I finished was High on Life on the Xbox Series S. And I actually had a good time with that game. It wasn't perfect by any means. I did run into a weird glitch, which I'll show off maybe tomorrow for New Year's. But it was still a fun first-person shooter. It's funny. The graphics are really nice. I love the music. The music's really good. The gameplay is fine. It's nothing really special, but it's still a fun first-person shooting game. And I really enjoyed High on Life. It's like one of the first Xbox Series S games I actually genuinely really like on the system. So, really enjoyed that game. So those were the games I beat for the month of December. And that is all, everyone. So this is my final video for 2022. Hopefully 2023 will be a way better year. I mean, my year was okay. It wasn't the absolute best, but it was a decent year. But anyways, guys, take it easy. Video Game Over 58. See you guys later. Oh, there was one more thing I forgot to mention about like best things of 2022. My thrift store was lit this year. A lot of good games that I picked up in that thrift store this year. The most they had in any year. I just want to bring that up.